Hey guys, Brenda here. Welcome to Sewing Back. And I had told you on a couple videos back that I had ordered a garden planner, and I kind of ordered it sight unseen. This is from a small business, not in my area, but definitely in the YouTube sphere. This is from Rachel over at That 1870s Homestead. She created a garden planner, and she published it on Amazon, and I will link it in the description. But if you go to Amazon, I didn't see any reviews as of yet that had like pictures outside of the cover. And I wanted to share with you my thoughts. I think I paid, it was either $11.99 or $12.99. I can't remember. Either way, I'm trying to do a better job of keeping up with my garden notes. I've typically used a 3-ring binder with page protectors, and the issue I have with that is I pull things out and I don't put things back. And I feel like having this in this location will help me be a little bit more organized, or at least I'd like to try it. So I felt like for the money, it was worth the investment, because a lot of what you will go through in your gardening season, regardless of how big your garden is, how small your garden is, or even the type of gardening that you do, if you do it in containers and ground, if you have raised beds, if you're doing it in green stalks, whatever, on your back porch or on a balcony, or in your backyard. So there's so much learning that you're going to learn each year that you do this. It is part of the journey of becoming a gardener. And having good notes are just incredibly important, because I promise you, you won't remember. I've heard many YouTubers, and I've read several gardening blogs where they say they do photo entries and garden tours. That's great, but I promise you, you don't have hours and hours and hours to go back and rewatch all of that. Or if you do, then you have more time than I do, and everything kind of gets lost in translation. So I am trying to make an effort to write things down. I did write a lot of things down last year. Like I said, my issue was not putting things back. So this is a bound. It's not very big. It's nice. Little garden planner journal. And so the cover page is, you can put, who this book belongs to or who this garden belongs to. And she has a little thing here, and she has it so that you can get this and date it yourself. So this is not a dated planner. You can get this and you could reorder it and use it again next year. Or maybe add to this book next year. I don't know that it all has to be 1 year. Okay, so it has the year, you put the date, and then understanding your annual garden goals. And so she has some goals, and I'm just showing you. I don't know about copyright and all that, and I don't want everybody to copy her stuff. She put time and effort into this, but it's very nice for the amount of money. I think it's very reasonably priced. But you make goals. You set goals for your garden, and over here she has what I want to grow, and then you have a list of what you want to grow, and she has seed start, transplant. Do you want to do direct sow? Do you want to replant? Do you want to harvest? Then I love this. She has the grid for you to lay out your garden, and it has dates, because you may lay out your garden in early spring, and come summer it's changing. Your fall garden's gonna look different, and from year to year, if you rotate things around. And I do try to do that. And that way you can come back and see, oh, where did I put everything? Some things may not, the infrastructure part may not change, but having the layout and being able to put in things, I love that. I love the grid. That's a great, if you've ever taken any kind of landscape design classes or anything, I actually did take one. This is so helpful for sketching out what's up in your head onto paper. And even if it's not there yet and you're just dreaming of it. And even if you have to dream and it's just a small section, that's still, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so it takes time to build up, to a larger garden, just like when you start out, as an adult, you move out. And you start out with bare bones, when you get your first place, and then you start accumulating things. And it's kind of the same with gardening, okay? All right, then it has when, what, how, seed starting schedule, items to purchase, direct sow scheduling, preservation plan. So she wants you planning, how are you going to preserve what you're growing, and having a game plan for that. And I like that because she is setting you up for success in that she's one that you don't think, oh, I'm not going to get anything. I'm going to spend all this time, all this money. I'm not going to get any produce or whatever, because something always happens. I love this because this gives you a plan and doesn't mean that everything will be, gangbusters, but I guarantee you something will. That's typically how it happens. And then she has a harvest log, so you would date and start putting when you're harvesting your stuff. And this is the other side of the harvest log. And then what did I learn? My garden top 10. And so you can put your things and have reflective notes. And she left more pages for notes. And then some more words of encouragement. And then look, year, and you can put next year. Now, depending on if you garden, how long your garden season is, if you do fall planting, all that kind of stuff, or if you try to garden year round, you really could, instead of year, you could do this by season, which is kind of what I'm thinking I might want to do, because then I can redo this. And I can lay out, okay, this is what I'm going to grow in the fall. And so I have kind of thought about doing it that way. And it's all the same things. And so this actually will take you through 5 years if you're going to just garden on, I guess, more of a one season kind of gardener. I could be wrong. I guess you could fit it all in, but the way I break mine down, I kind of like to see it as like two gardens in my mind. Then she has like a timeline that kind of gives you a run through of what to do through the months. And she goes through all the months. She has feeders and givers. And so she's kind of explaining about the different fruits and vegetables, how much to plant, how the spacing she has in here per person's in your house. And she goes through all the different vegetables, and she's telling you the spacing based off of the square foot gardening method, which is really helpful. And so this is her book. I will link it down in the description. And if you were wondering, you're thinking about or whether this is your first gardening season, maybe you're a seasoned gardener, keeping up with year to year things that you do, writing them down. You can go back when you're not swimming in tomatoes or cucumbers or what have you, and you can reflect on your notes. And what I really liked about this is because of the way that it's put together. One, you do have a lot of spaces for notes. And one of the things I actually thought about using for some of the notes would be some of how I decided to can or preserve some of my items. Like it has a place to list what you're going to do with it. But let's say I tried a different recipe and we really liked it. That would be something I would probably want to put in my notes sections that I could come back to and say, hey, I want to make more of those, or we hated it, I don't want to do those, or I didn't like growing that. Like I said on a previous video, I am not loving the whole drying the loofahs, and I don't plan to grow them again. I would rather just pay somebody for loofahs who likes to grow them, because the growing part I guess was fine. The harvesting, the drying, I don't like. So for me, I would rather pay somebody else. So anyway, so this is my honest review. Now, I haven't used the planner yet, but as far as its functionality, the way it looks, the way it feels, the way it was made, the thought behind it, I love this planner. I think that this garden plan is going to be fantastic. She says on here, says a year in my garden, a 5-year annual planner to grow as a gardener. So she plans on you using it over the course of 5 years. And you could totally do that. Like I said, for me, I think for the way I like to garden, and I live in the Southeast, so I can garden almost year round to some level. I don't know if I'm going to want to do it as a year instead of like maybe taking and doing it kind of like in the seasons for my planner. I could change my mind. I don't know. The other thing I really like about this is if you've ever invested in some of the different planners out there, they get kind of pricey. Some of them can get kind of pricey, and then you start getting into them and you spend a lot of money. And a lot of times if you're more on, I guess, not necessarily a perfectionist, but you want to keep it pretty. You don't want it to have crossed out things and all that kind of stuff. And then you just never start. What I really like about this is the practicality of it, and that it's nice paper. It is pretty, but this is it's a workbook essentially that you're going to be working through your garden and making notes and having it as a reference. And I'm not going to be super worried because I spent like $12 or whatever on it. And yeah, and I like that. And I like that she put the thought into it, whether you used it for 5 years or 1 or a couple years, however you choose to use it. Also, if you get into gardening and things like that, and then you decide, hey, this isn't my forte, guess what? You don't have to keep doing it. And you didn't make a huge investment. Okay guys, so if you are interested in this planner, I will link it in the description. I'm not affiliated with their channel or anything. I've just enjoyed a lot of their content. If you like canning, Rachel always has fun, I don't know if it's fun, but she always has interesting takes on canning, some different canning projects and things like that. So if you're getting into that, she has some really good videos. And I honestly haven't watched a ton of their garden content. They're in a whole different region of the United States than I am. So it doesn't, a lot of their stuff, a few of the things are not necessarily when I would be doing things and applicable, I can't speak. I'm tired, sorry. It's been a long day. They don't work for my area. It's not that they don't work for my area, it's that a lot of times I would have already planted all of that because I hit my warm growing season so much sooner than they do. So they're up north, I'm down south. So a lot of times my gardening content, I follow more southeastern or people in climates closer to my own to learn tips and tricks and see how other people deal with things. I've also, for gardening and stuff, I've actually taken horticulture classes and stuff in my area. to learn more and pest management and stuff like that. So, but as far as the canning, cooking, stuff like that, I really enjoy that part of the content, and also their restoration. They've done some restoration projects that have been pretty good. So I hope I gave them a good plug for their channel. And but I was excited to support. I love to support small businesses whenever I have an opportunity. And so I was happy to support their channel. I know that I've gleaned at least $12+ off of all the hours I've watched. So I thought, what a great way to help support another YouTuber, content creator. So anyway, one other tip that I wanted to say, and I don't know why this popped into my head, other than depending on where you live, it's January 10th today, and my growing zone, most growing zones got a little changed recently. So my growing zone is now been moved from 7B to 8A, and it's about that time to start getting ready to seed start any kind of brassicas, lettuces, spinach, all that kind of stuff that you want to get planted out for a spring harvest. And I will say, where I live, it's better to start it sooner rather than later. You do have to start it inside. I have a setup in my garage. I have heat mats and grow lights and all the things. And the reason you want to do that is because we can go from winter to summer. We could have like a week of spring and then summer temperatures here, and those type of crops will bolt, and so you'll put a lot of effort in them and then not get a harvest. And that's a real battle here in the Southeast. And also pest pressure it comes on pretty quick in the spring. And so if you are in a colder climate, or you don't have like an indoor setup where you can do trays and heat mats and lights, and you're on a tight budget, guess what? You can still grow you some plants. You can grow them. You don't have to have a ton of room or anything, but how you can start them and do it outside is you can get like old milk jugs, you can get water jug, whatever you want to use, and you can get an X-Acto knife and cut around. I wouldn't cut all of it off. I would still leave a little bit of a piece on here, and then you can put some good seed starting mix in the bottom, and you can squirt it with water, and then you can close the lid back up, and you're essentially making a little greenhouse. You can do it. I've done it when I was a teacher. I used to do this with my first graders, but we would use a water bottle, and we would do different plants in water bottles and seed start that way. And it was a great way to recycle those water bottles that everybody always had. And the same thing, now I wouldn't let them do an X-Acto knife, but you can do it. You can use scissors. This one's a little thicker, so a box cutter or X-Acto knife works pretty well on these. And then you can leave them out in a sunny spot and make sure that, check them, make sure it's not getting too warm in there, that they're getting, some moisture. Once you have some moisture in there, you should get that condensation, and have that greenhouse effect for it. But if you have these items, don't just go recycle them right now. You really could use these. You've already paid for whatever was in them, and you can use them for another purpose. And so I just wanted to remind you of that. If you haven't thought about that, my brain always goes to this because like I said, being a teacher, first grade teacher in particular for so many years, I saw so many possibilities when I saw stuff like this, because you're always on like no budget, and you have to come up with creative ways to teach children different things. And I was a very hands-on teacher. So this could be from an art project, and we could paint it and do all kinds of stuff with it, all the way to making little greenhouses and start us a little garden. So if you have stuff like this, like I said, don't recycle it. If you're gonna garden, start your seeds in this. You can get you an inexpensive seed starting mix. I was at my local Walmart 2 days ago, and they were putting out all that. I did a little short on it, and they had seed starting mix that you could go ahead and buy. They did have the little pots and stuff if you have a setup inside or you want to build a set inside. They had grow mats, they had the light. Some of them, they had one kit that had like everything you needed to get started. Just depending on, you know, what your budget is. Also think about when you're planning, grow what you know you like to eat. If you're going to do something experimental, only experiment maybe on a couple things. Other than that, grow things you want to eat. Don't grow things that you know you hate, you know your family hates, or maybe you have an allergy, because that'll probably be the thing you grow the most of, and then you're not going to consume it. So don't waste your garden space on things you don't like. It's okay if you don't like, you know, Brussels sprouts, then don't grow them. You know, try growing some of the stuff that you like. And I would encourage you to try to grow some brassicas and things. And that would be like your cabbages, your broccoli, any of cauliflower, any of that. They can be a little tricky, but that's part of the learning process. And you can get, a lot of times you can go to the Dollar Tree, $1.25, I think now is what it is. Somebody said, I heard someone say it might be $1.50 in some places, but you can get packs of seeds. I did this last year with some kids that I had done some videos for past students, and who wanted to know how they could garden using stuff from Dollar Tree. And I'm telling you, the seeds that I got from Dollar Tree, I paid $1. I think it was $1.25 per pack. I don't think it was 2 for $1. I can't remember, but it was cheap, whatever it was, and fantastic germination rate. So I grew cucumbers and beans, and what else? We grew carrots, and there was something else. And we did a lot of flowers. So anyway, so don't throw these things away. You can use them in your garden. It's a great way to save some money, and go ahead and get started. Start some seeds, because before you know it, you're going to want those things in the ground, and getting a head start before we get into really warm weather and heavy pest pressure. So that's all I have for you. I hope that you have a wonderful morning, evening, night, depending on when you watch this. I thank you so much for being here, and I hope you found value in this. And thanks. I appreciate it so much. And I will see you on the next one. I'm gonna have a shopping haul coming up. I don't know if, I think it's been shipped. I'm very excited to share with you. It's a whole new thing for me, so stay tuned for that. We will have more of our old cookbook series coming up. I got a comment about the biscuits, if you followed that I probably could have used a little bit more lard. And so I may even do a retry on that and see how that goes. I think the next thing I will do is going to be a pie crust. Because you can make quiche, you can make it sweet or savory. You could do a chicken pot pie. So I really have never made a lard pie crust, and so I think that's going to be the next one that I want to use out of the cookbook. So stay tuned for that, and thanks again for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.